had planned to camp along the mountain trails of northern Vietnam, near terraced fields that looked like giant green steps carved into the hills. After a long day of hiking, I decided to push deeper into the mountains than my map recommended, mostly out of curiosity, partly because the air felt cleaner the farther I walked. In the afternoon, mist gathered low along the slopes, drifting between the trees like pale ghosts. I found a flat patch beside a bamboo thicket and set up my tent. I hadn't seen another person all day, but as sunset turned the sky gold, I noticed something unusual in the distance. A thin column of smoke rising straight up, completely unaffected by the wind. It came from somewhere deeper in the forest. Curiosity tugged at me again. I grabbed my flashlight and followed the trail until it narrowed into a worn footpath. The path wound between steep drops, then opened onto a hidden valley I swear wasn't on any map I saw. That's where I saw the village. Small wooden huts with sharpened posts along their roofs. Stone fire pits scattered between houses. No power lines, no signs of modern life. It looked untouched, almost ancient. Smoke curled from several fires, blending into a hazy curtain that hung over the clearing. As I stepped down the slope, a group of people emerged from behind the huts. Their clothes were simple, woven fabric, all the same muted color. Their hair was long, tied back tightly, and their faces held an expression I couldn't decipher. Calm, but not welcoming. One of them approached me. A man, maybe in his 50s. He didn't speak, but motioned with his hand for me to follow. I hesitated, but he didn't show aggression. No weapons, no threat, just expectation. So I went with him. They led me to a fire pit where several villagers sat in complete silence. Not a whispered conversation, not even the sound of coughing or shuffling feet. The firelight flickered across their faces, but none of them reacted to the shifting shadows. A woman stepped forward and handed me a bowl of warm broth. I tried to ask questions, who they were, how long they'd lived here, but no one responded. Not a single word. They all simply watched. Not hostile, not friendly, just watching. I set the bowl down gently and stood. The villagers parted to let me leave, still silent, their eyes following every step. I backed away slowly until I reached the edge of the trees. The moment I crossed into the forest's darkness, the fire pit behind me dimmed, as if someone had smothered the flames. I made my way back toward my campsite, but halfway there, I froze. Footsteps, multiple sets, matching my pace. I turned and scanned the trees with my flashlight, but the beam only caught mist and branches. Yet the footsteps kept following. Soft, bare footsteps, dozens of them, always just far enough to stay out of sight. When I reached my tent, the footsteps stopped. The forest fell unnaturally silent. Trying not to panic, I climbed inside and zipped the tent shut. I stayed awake for hours, listening to nothing but my breath and the occasional creak of bamboo shifting in the wind. Just before dawn, something woke me. A chorus of low humming. Not musical, not soothing. A throaty, layered sound that vibrated through the tent walls. I slowly unzipped the flap and saw them. The villagers. All of them. Standing in a wide circle around my campsite. Still silent. Still expressionless. Not speaking. Not blinking. They weren't humming. The humming came from the forest behind them, and grew louder, as if something enormous was approaching from the dark. The villagers raised their heads in perfect unison and stepped aside, opening a path from the trees to my camp. I didn't wait to see what was coming. I grabbed my gear, slung my pack over my shoulder, and ran down the trail as fast as I could. I didn't stop until the sun was fully up, and the forest thinned out enough for me to see the main road. When I turned to look back, the hidden valley was gone. No smoke, no huts, just trees. But that humming, it still vibrated faintly through the ground beneath my boots, following me long. After the village had vanished,